All right, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be talking to you about adding decimals. All right, when you're adding decimals, a couple terms you need to be familiar with. First of all, sum. Okay, the sum is just your fancy mathematical word for the solution to an addition problem. You also need to be familiar with estimation, because anytime you're dealing with decimals, you may be asked to estimate. So again, it's basically estimating rounding to the nearest whole number. For example, below you can see I have 26.53 and we want to round this to 27. So what you need to do is to look at the nearest whole number, which in this case we're going to say is the ones. We're going to round this up to the ones digit. To do that, you need to look at the first place value after that, which would be the tenths place. If that number is 5 or higher, you're going to round that ones digit up to, in this case, a 7 or just up. If it's 4 or lower, you will keep it the same. In this case, you can see since it's a 5, I have that highlighted in red. We're going to go ahead and round it up. So you can see that's why we ended up with 27. On the next example, we're going to go ahead and try to round the same way. Notice this time I have highlighted in red the ones place. That's because it's going to stay the same. If you look at your tenths place, which is 3, because that value is below 5, 4 or lower, that means that your rounded value would stay, or your ones value would stay the same, in this case 45. So you'll get a little bit of practice with that here in just a moment. So this first example wants us to estimate, and again, the reason why you would estimate is just to do some really quick calculations, typically using decimals. So if you don't have to be accurate, then it's a nice easy way, just round to the nearest ones digit or whole number and go ahead and add up what you have. It's a nice, quick, easy way to do mental math. So in this case, we're going to round 28.98 up, because if you notice, we're looking at the ones digit here. It's an 8. Notice how the next, or the tenths digit, is a 9. Since it's above 5, which 9 is above 5, we're going to go ahead and round that 8 up one place to 29. Then we're going to look at the second number here, 323.56. Notice the ones digit is a 3, and we're rounding to the ones digit every time. We want to make these whole numbers. That's what rounding to the nearest whole number means. So looking at the tenths digit, notice how it's a 5. Okay, 5 or higher, you need to round that ones digit up. So in this case, 323 needs to become 324. Okay, and then you're ready to add. So 324 plus 29. So we'll do 9 plus 4, which is 13. Carry the 1. 2 plus 2, which is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then we just go ahead and bring down that 3, because 3 plus 0 is 3. All right, so our answer there would be 353. Our estimate, of course, our estimate. One more example like that. So let's go ahead and look at rounding 205.34 and 32.67. So our ones digit in 205.34 is 5. The tenths digit is 3. 3 is below 5, so that means we need to keep the ones digit the same number. So in this case, we'll keep it 205. All right, moving over to 32.67, you'll see the ones digit is a 2. The tenths digit is a 6. That is above 5. 5 or above, we round up. So that means the 2 now will become a 3. So we're actually going to be adding 205 plus 33. So we'll add 5 plus 3, which is 8, 0 plus 3, which is 3, and 2 plus 0, which is 2. So you can see it makes for nice, easy, inaccurate, but nice, easy addition if you don't need to be accurate. Your answer there would be 238. All right. So let's go ahead, if we have to be accurate, which you tend to have to be accurate when you're using decimals, because decimals in our country typically mean money, and most countries actually typically mean money. So people want you to be accurate with money because, well, they want their correct change. And also, let's just see, ultimately, when you're looking at decimals, you're dealing with values that can be easily misplaced or easily added wrong or subtracted wrong if you don't line up your decimals. So down here at the bottom, you can see, be sure to line up decimal and place values when you add. Okay, if you've already watched the subtraction video on decimals, you've also seen this. With addition and subtraction, you have to line up your place values and your decimals. So the first thing we're going to do is rewrite this problem. We're going to put the first number, 32.58, above the second number, which is 21.6. But notice how 21.6 only goes out to the tenths place. We need all of our decimals to always go out to the same place value. So we need to actually add a 0 to 21.6 so that it goes out to the same place value. So if we don't do that, we may accidentally add tens to ones or tenths to hundredths, things like that, and that's going to mess everything up. So now that we're good to go, we can go ahead and just start adding. 8 plus 0 is 8. 5 plus 6 is 11. Bring your decimals straight down. Notice how the decimals are aligned, all your place values are aligned. That's good. We need to carry the 1. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. And 3 plus 2 is 5. So it looks like we end up with 5418.18. Alright, so let's look at the next example then. This time you can see we actually we're way off on our place values. We have 208.6 that goes out to the tenths place. However, 234 thousandths goes out to the thousandths place. So we need to take 208.6 all the way out to the thousandths place, or just recognize that so that we don't accidentally add or subtract digits that we're not supposed to. So in this case, since we're adding, I'm going to put 208.6 on top, and I'm actually going to add 2 zeros to hold the place for those missing place values. And then I'm going to line up my decimal. Notice my ones place in this number, 0.234, is actually a 0. So the 0 would go here, the decimal would go here, and then you have 2, 3, 4. So notice you have to be very careful. Adding can seem very easy to us. However, if we're not adding the right numbers, the answer is going to be wrong every time. So now that we have everything aligned, we can go ahead and add. 4 plus 0 is 4. 3 plus 0 is 3. 6 plus 2 is 8. Bring your decimal straight down. 8 plus 0 is 8. We have a 0 there. And then 2. So there's really not a whole lot of adding. It was just a whole lot of just making sure you get things lined up. And that's sometimes the case. All right. So how are we going to do these in word problems? Well, word problems with addition to decimals can span a whole lot. But a lot of times you're going to see that they do deal in money. So here's a quick problem dealing with donations. I donated $150.87 to the football team and $185.32 to the soccer team. And they just want to know how much did I donate. So I'm going to take those values and add them together. So 150.87 plus 185.32. And they all go out to the same place value, so we're really just good to go as far as addition. 7 plus 2 is 9. 8 plus 3 is 11. Bring your decimal down. Carry your 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. 8 plus 5 is 13. Carry your 1 again. And then 1, 2, 3. So you end up with $336.19. All right, and finally, the last example here. This time we're just dealing in some distances. You can see that he jogged 3 different distances here, and they want to know how far he ran in all. So first of all, we'll take the first value, 3.5, and we will line it up with the next value, which is 2.65, which goes out one more place value. So again, in 3.5, we're going to include a 0 because it goes out to the hundredths place. 2.65 does, that is. So notice I added that 0 because 2.65 goes out to that hundredths place. And then 5 miles on Friday. So 5 miles, 5 is actually a whole number. It doesn't have a decimal in it. So where do our ones digits go? Well, they go in the ones. We're going to have to hold the place with a decimal and 2 zeros. 5.00 is the same thing as 5. It's like $5. So 5.00. Once we get everything aligned, we're ready to add. So we see in the right column there, we end up with just 5. 5 plus 6 is 11. Bring your decimal straight down. Carry your 1. 3 plus 2 plus 5, that's 5 plus 5, which is 10, plus 1 is 11. And you can see that you end up with 11.15 as its total distance. This has been a quick tutorial on how to add decimals.